Okay, here we're continuing on. We started talking about closing, the last step of the accounting cycle, and we had gone through the first three, and we were talking about the fourth step to closing, which is to close drawing to capital. And we found drawing here on our worksheet. It's a $100 debit, so to close it, we're going to have to credit it. You want to make sure that drawing and capital are both in this sentence. You want to make sure you never close capital. So you don't want to look at this capital, oh, well, I'll just close it. Okay? No, you're only closing drawing into the capital account. You are never closing the capital itself. Okay, so we're going to go to our journal, and we know that we have to credit drawing. Okay, so you can go down to this next row if you want. We're going to credit drawing 100. Okay, now what are we going to debit? We know our debits have to equal our credits, so what are we going to debit? That's going to be the capital account. We're moving that drawing amount into the capital. So that's the 100. And our explanation, close drawing to capital. Okay, so now we, of course, need to post these into the ledger. And we need to make sure, once we do that, that everything that's supposed to be a zero is a zero, and that the capital account now equals the ending capital. Okay, and so we're going to go here. We need to debit mowing fees earned by $14.80. So we go to our ledger. We go to mowing fees earned. Let's see, I need go. Get your cursor outside that last box and hit enter, and it'll give you another row. Okay, so this is on the 31st, and we said we're going to debit it $14.80. The previous balance is a credit of $14.80. This is a debit. Debit and credit is subtract. $14.80 minus $14.80 is 0. That's what we want. Okay. And this came from General Journal page 2. And this is account 401. We go back to the journal and we put in 401. Next one is income summary. Now, a lot of times there is no income summary on the ledger because it only lasts just a few minutes. Here we're putting something in and then we're going to take it back out again. So you can just put in a couple dashes for that if you want. You can make an income summary ledger on your ledgers if you want. We go down to the next one. There again is income summary. We'll put a couple dashes. Now we need to credit rent expense 200. Okay, so I find rent expense. 30. I need to credit it. I said 200. Now it already had a debit balance of 200. Now I have a credit of 200. Debit and credit is subtract. 200 minus 200 is 0. And that's what you want it to be. Came from GJ2, and that's account 501. Okay. Telephone expense needs to be credited for 90. Okay. Oops. We have 80. Did we do something wrong here? Let's see. Yes, telephone expenses, 80. Okay, I mixed them up here. Okay, this is 80. See how you can have things not be correct, even though the totals are correct. Okay, so telephone is 80. We're going to credit telephone for 80. The original was a debit of 80. Now we have a credit of 80. And that 80 minus 80 is 0. That came from General Journal, page 2. And that's account 502. Now we have supplies, credit for 90. Here we have supplies, credit for 90. Previous balance was a debit of 90. Debit and credit is subtract. 90 minus 90 is 0. And that came from GJ2. And that's account 503. Depreciation, we need to credit by 10. Previous was a debit of 10. Now we have a credit. Debit and credit is subtract. 10 minus 10 is 0. And that's account 504. Okay. Next one, income summary. We'll just put dashes there. The capital account needs to be credited for 1100. Okay, the previous balance was 5,000. Now we have, and that was a credit. This is a credit. Debit and debit is add. Credit and credit is add. Debit and credit is subtract. This is credit and credit, so we add. 5,000 plus 1,100 is 6,100. Where did this come from? GJ2. If you notice your capital account go to 0, you screwed up. Okay? Never close the capital account. And that's account 303. Okay, now again we have the capital account. We're going to debit it for 100 this time. Okay, now I'm going to go outside this box, get another line. We're going to debit it for 100. Now our previous balance is 6,100 credit. Now I have a debit of 100. Credit and debit is subtract. 6,100 minus 100 is 6,000. And go to our journal. That's 303. And we have the drawing account needs to be credited for 100. Drawing. Previous balance was debit of 100. Now we have a credit of 100. 100 minus 100 is 0. And that's account 311. Okay, now we've posted everything. We need to do a post-closing trial balance, and as we're doing that, you're going to want to make sure that all the assets and liabilities are the same as they were on the balance sheet. The capital should now equal the ending capital that's on the balance sheet, and everything else should be 0. So I'm going to go ahead and put that right here. This is a post, means after closing trial balance. And this is for May 31st. Okay, we're going to list our accounts that still have a balance. So that's cash, receivable, supplies, equipment, accumulated depreciation dash equipment, accounts payable, and then comma capital. Now, all other accounts should have a 0 balance, so they won't be listed on here. Here we have a debit and a credit. Okay, so the cash all the way through the accounts payable, we're going to take straight off that worksheet, but we can also look at our ledgers. They should be the same. Okay. So cash is 50/60, accounts receivable is 70/90. Okay, and or we can look here. Okay, supplies, mowing supplies is 60, equipment is 1200, and accumulated depreciation is 10. 1200. Accumulated depreciation is a credit balance of 10. Okay. And again, we can look at the ledgers or our worksheet. They should be the same. Okay. Here's accounts payable is 1100 credit, and the capital is 6000 credit. Okay. Okay, so we want to add that up. 90, 60, 1200, 7110. And here we also have 7110. Okay, so our total debits equal our total credits from the ledger, so we're good to go. We also want to double check, make sure, is this capital the same amount as our ending capital from the statement of owner's equity? So if I go back to our financial statements, our ending capital from the statement of owner's equity is 6,000. We also had to use that as our ending capital balance for the balance sheet, 6,000. So now that we have closed the ledger, does the ledger equal 6,000 on the capital?